Rise and shine, Ryan. Saturday morning on Listen Up, presented by Dempsey's and Sportsland, Ryan. On this Saturday morning, we're going to preview the FSU and UConn game that's happening tomorrow at 1 o'clock right there on ESPN. Ryan, this is a very good Florida State team that just went 11-1 last night, or excuse me, the night before. So it was Thursday night, Ryan. And this is not a pushover team. You have to remember this is first-year head coach. She used to play for Florida State, and we'll get into that in just a second. I did a little bit of research last night and watched some highlights. Ryan, I told you this is actually the same thing that goes for Florida State. They're one of their, if you ask me, the biggest test so far against number 9 UConn. But they have yet to be ranked, Ryan, and they are looking very good. I mean, they're putting up 90, sometimes 100 points a game. And I'm like you, I'm a little bit concerned if Dorka doesn't return, if Nika, and the list goes on. If we don't say, and I don't have a status for them yet. I don't know if you do or not. I'm a little bit concerned. I really am. If we had the same exact lineup, same players available as we did against Maryland.
Yeah, no status yet on the injury, but hopefully at least Dorka can get out there because I know she's been kind of a game time decision for the past 2 games. But yeah, I mean, she would be a massive help if she could be out there on Sunday. But Florida State, like you said, is having a very good season so far. They defeated Florida and Purdue, but not yet faced a ranked opponent. I know we keep saying it for almost about every team that their biggest test is UConn, but it is true. I mean, UConn Huskies, quite honestly, probably everybody's biggest test. But their only loss, Florida State, was to Oklahoma State by just 2 points. So Seminoles team is definitely no pushover, like you mentioned. They're led by a freshman guard, Tania Latson, who is averaging 25 points on their season. Now, this is a freshman averaging 25 points. Joining her in the starting lineup, senior guard Sarah Bigetti and senior guard Jasmine Massengill, transfer from Kentucky. Also, senior forward Aaron Howard and sophomore forward Michaela Timpson round out the starting 5 for Florida State. Now, the Seminoles usually have 4 players that come off their bench: guards Omariah Gordon and Brianna Turnage, forwards Mariana Venezuela and Valencia Myers, who is a 5th-year senior. So to me, this Seminole team has a lot of experience. A freshman guard that seems to be lighting it up right now. I hope Nika's available to go if she's able to guard Latson out there. And of course, just have Nika out there for her ball handling and to set the offense. I think that would be great for UConn. But I think this game, again, is going to come down to the turnover battle and just UConn taking care of the ball. If UConn can take care of the ball, I think they'll win this game. But if they're careless, have a repeat performance of what we saw last Sunday, where Maryland had 71 field goal attempts, I think that's going to spell trouble for UConn again.
It is. We have to remember, Ryan, that this is a Florida State team that, again, I wanted to get into the coaching perspective. Florida State, they're built on Sue Semrall's legacy there, the winningest coach at Florida State. She just recently retired after 24 seasons with the Seminoles. She's the all-time winningest coach in Florida State history. And again, I go back to that because Brooke, I don't know if you took a look at the recent head coach that just came in, first year head coach Brooke Wyckoff, and she used to be a former player for the Florida State Seminoles, and she's actually in their basketball Hall of Fame. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. I don't know. It's not Ring of Honor. I'm sure it's definitely a Hall of Fame, FSU Hall of Fame. So again, Ryan, you're right. And I took a look at some highlights last night against the team that they played. And I tell you, I like the way that this team actually moves the ball around and they play a lot of man-to-man defense. They suffocate you inside the paint, Ryan. And I think it reminded me kind of like when Nika Mule's on the floor, stealing the ball away and playing heavy defense. Like I said, when Nika is on the floor for UConn.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be a trend that we've seen the past couple games, maybe besides the Providence game, that all these teams that UConn are playing comes to play and obviously provides very good defense. And it's been a challenge without AZ and Nika for the last game. But I think moving forward, all these teams seem to have pretty good defenses. So that's just another negative we can add to the list to not having AZ and Nika out there, is that all these teams that UConn seem to be playing are very, very good defensively. And that's part of the problem why UConn is also turning the ball over so much on offense. So, I mean, we have to give credit to all these other teams. And if UConn's not giving it their all and comes out there 100% ready to play, we saw we saw what the result can be, and that's what happened to Maryland. So I think UConn's going to be ready to come out and play Sunday. They've had a week off. Hopefully that's helped them, like Gino was saying, rest up and get ready for this game. I think that week came at the exact right time for UConn. So hopefully everybody's rested up now. Hopefully they studied some film and they're ready to get out there and bounce back from that loss.
Yeah, so it was against not last night, excuse me, Thursday night, when Florida State defeated. This is a unique team name here, Presbyterian Blue Hose.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Blue Hose, Ryan. We're getting into firefighter terms. Florida State, again, they improved to 11-1, and they held their opponent to 37 points. I don't know if you took a look at the highlights from Thursday night. It was Mariana Valenzuela, and she shot the lights out from downtown. I mean, this girl can shoot the ball. And that's what I took away actually from just that one game Thursday night. But I should have watched more highlights from previous games from them, because it seems like to me that they're really dangerous from downtown. And they have a lot of players, not only Valenzuela, but a lot of players that can shoot the ball from 3-point range. So it should be fun.
Yeah, and Latson led them again in scoring with 25 more points last night. So she just continues to have a really great season from them. Yeah, and made 10 threes last night. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite UConn again, because that's the same thing we saw against Maryland, was their great defense, and Maryland shot the lights out from three. So hopefully UConn, I think that's definitely something that UConn can also improve on, is their perimeter defense. I think Maryland got way too many wide open looks from 3-point range. Obviously, the opposing team still has to make the shot, but when you give these teams wide open shots, they're eventually going to start knocking them down. They get into a rhythm, all the momentum shifts to their side. And it's just a continuous, onslaught almost of just 3-point shots. So hopefully UConn, it gets a little better up in their face more around the 3-point line. Hopefully no easy shots for Florida State, because like you said, it seems like they're going to knock them down if they get wide open.
Okay. Are you still with me there? Can you hear me?
Yep, I'm still here.
All right. Time for comments, Ryan. Let's start off with Alan Lee. He left a pretty good one here as we wrap it up on this last check-in. You're showing up like a clown, Phil. And this is from Alan Lee. Just own that you were pulling for Maryland and be done with it. There's two reasons UConn lost last week: turnovers and home cooking. Would have been nice to point out things that went well as bad, instead of saying "I told you so." That loss was a very good game for UConn, considering everything we lost, but there were so many areas of the game that warranted attention, and despite all of that, they lost by a few points late in the game. Let me just say, Ryan, I never have come across such people that take pride in their basketball team. So I have to give respect to even the people that was really on me after that Maryland game. I have to really just point that out and say, man, I don't know if there's better fans than UConn Huskies fans, because they are I mean, they they back their team better than I've ever seen any fan do before.
Yeah, and we love to see that. We love to see
Mhm.
diehard fans, much like we are with our sports teams. So it's definitely great to see. And we already knew the UConn Husky fans, because we see it, as we watch on TV at their hometown stadium there in Gamble Pavilion. They always show out for the UConn Huskies, and you can just hear the excitement, the energy level every single time you watch a game. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, we talked about it in the injury video a little bit, but all things considered for UConn in that game, it is kind of uh amazing really that they only lost. They didn't lose by double digit points, but still a loss nonetheless. I mean, Maryland had home field, home court advantage. So I just think it's almost time to move on, bounce back. Like I said, UConn had a whole week to kind of watch film and see what they can improve on from that game. Hopefully, I guess if Nika's unable to go and Ness gets the starting bid again, hopefully Lou stays out of foul trouble so she can stay in, make 3-point shots, and make an impact offensively, because without Nika and AZ on the floor, UConn can obviously use Lou Lopez Senechal's 3-point shooting.
Let's see here. We'll go with Lindsey Matthews. Gino once said that we have 2 seasons in Connecticut. We have summer and we have basketball season. Yes, living in Connecticut is a joy, and having been a UConn fan forever, they were a big part of my life and the lives of so many others I know. The UConn women's team is a uniter in this the I guess you meant divisive times. We may not share the same political views, but we can agree on how much we love our UConn Huskies.
Yeah, and I mean that goes back to the other comment about how diehard they are to this team. So it's definitely great to see. And like I said, we already knew that you guys that watch this podcast are diehard UConn Husky fans.
Ryan, let's get down to this is a pretty good. Alan Lee goes. He commented about 4 or 5 times. So Alan Lee says, "I just watched you as you read my comment, Phil, and I have to say one amazing thing about you: you don't hide from negative comments, and that's respect." Alan Lee, and then he goes, "Rye, losing in the Sweet 16 2 years straight isn't going deep into March Madness." All right, I've given you enough negative criticism for an entire season. Now I'll get constructive. Look, no one wants to hear that this team is perfect, but this is our team, right? So win or lose, point out the areas where we shined, be they individual performances or things the team did better than, say, last game. Absolutely point out problem areas or trends and bad performances. No one is saying not to, but if you're measuring is W's and L's, what's the use? There is only one team ever each season worth reporting on. The season is a journey where each game is an adventure. And then he goes on to say, this is always your greatest opportunity to shine, to find those not so obvious silver linings. And I know you two will. I believe in you. By the way, UConn by a lot Sunday, Nika or not.
Yeah, I mean that's very true about what you said about only having one team, pointing out the positives and negatives every single game, even despite if it's a win or a loss. So I mean, I think one of the silver linings, obviously, I think was Ines. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said in that injury video, I don't know how many people thought she would end up being a starting guard for the UConn Huskies at any point during this season. So I think that was one of them, just seeing her come out, especially in the first quarter, and it didn't seem like anything bothered her. Like I said in the recap video, like I mentioned after the game, but I was just impressed by Ines coming out there and giving it her all. Really, she didn't really have the best shooting performance, but you don't really expect too much out of her, with it being her first start and her coming to the U.S. about 100 days ago and signing with the UConn Huskies. I think Aaliyah was also great in that game. She obviously had a tremendous game. Her and Aubrey looked great out there. Despite all the turnovers on offense, they definitely provided the UConn Huskies with a huge boost on offense. Aaliyah has been playing great the whole season. Obviously, every player is going to have there are ups and downs for the whole entire year, but Aaliyah has been pretty consistent this year, which is great to see, with her having kind of a down season last year in her sophomore year. So it's been great to see Aaliyah shining out there despite all of the switches to the starting lineup. Aubrey coming in, playing great on offense and defense every single game, playing her heart out there. So that's definitely great to see. Great to see Amari getting playing time. She played good with her minutes against Maryland as well.
Yeah, and it was Aubrey Griffin, wasn't it, with the injured back last season?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw a comment last night getting ready for this episode, or the night before, excuse me, that it was interesting to see. Someone had mentioned that they didn't think that they would agree to keep Aubrey Griffin in the starting lineup, but she has played so well that she has earned that no matter who comes back. Dorka, Nika in the starting lineup. They said leave Aubrey Griffin in the starting five.
Yeah, and that's why I said in that video a couple of days ago that when Dorka does come back, and if she does come back for this Florida State game, I would like to see Gino possibly switch up the starting lineup and put 3 forwards in, which would be Aubrey, Aaliyah, and Dorka, and probably have, I guess, maybe Caroline and Lou in the starting lineup, or a Ness. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great to have 3 forwards out there. I couldn't agree more with that. The way Aubrey's been playing, she definitely deserves to be in that starting lineup.
FSU versus UConn, Ryan. It's time for predictions. You know what time it is, Ryan, on Listen Up. Oh man, I guess I'll have you lead it off while I write down your prediction. I'm still trying to figure out mine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think this is a tough one to just figuring figuring out the score and how many points it's going to be by. Um, I'm just it's just hard to say without knowing if Dorka is going to be in the starting lineup for sure. I would assume Nika is still out. We know AZ is still out. I'm going to go 78-70 UConn in this game. I think the MVP is going to be Aaliyah. I think she played great. She's been playing great for UConn. Always been a consistent offensive threat, grabbing boards for UConn. I'm going to go 78-70 Aaliyah Edwards MVP.
Okay. Well, I know it's tough to say because we still don't have any word, I guess, on Dorka or Nika as far as that goes returning, or AZ. And I'm sure AZ Fudd. We won't see any AZ Fudd for a while still. Ryan, let's go and go. I'll go 80-70 UConn over FSU, and I will go ahead and go Aaliyah Edwards as my MVP. And I think they take this one by 10, even if you don't see Nika or Dorka. I think they have that fire inside of them that comes out tomorrow at 1 o'clock, again, ESPN. And I think that they will turn it around, right? They have to. They have to. It's
Yeah.
UConn basketball.
Yeah, I mean, they have to they have to bounce back, right? It's only the UConn way. We never see UConn lose back-to-back games. That's something amazing streak that UConn's on, not losing back-to-back games. So we'll see what kind of fight and energy they come out with Sunday.
I'll see you right back here tomorrow around 3 o'clock, give or say, right? We're not expecting overtime, huh? Without the expectation of overtime, I'll see you around 3 o'clock. Florida State and UConn, Ryan, trying to bounce back right here on Listen Up.